Hello, friends. I'm Spire meteorologist James Van Fleet, and in today's edition of Spire Weather and Climate Video, multiple tropical cyclones in the forecast for one part of the world. I know that sounds very weird to hear that as we approach the first days of February, but that is the case. We're then going to jump to severe weather threats both in Europe and in the US. So let's dive into the details and not wait any further. All right, from our Deep Vision platform, what we've been talking about as far as the tropical systems, one over here off of that is called, you like that name? Elvis. Pretty clever, right? So then we've got TD11 that will likely be a tropical storm soon. And then as this moves on, I want to show you the forecast that we're looking at for these systems, as well as two or three that are lined up behind it. So as we go through, that's a very weak system for this one on the southern coast of Madagascar. But at the same time, we see the next system starting to get its act together. And it also looks like it will be forming a little bit of a anywhere from a tropical storm, maybe get to Cat 1 status. But I think both of these are going to be on the weaker end of storms. However, I want to draw your attention to this area, and this area. That is three more potential tropical systems in the making to have that pretty classic look of maybe a small hurricane, if not a tropical storm. And then this one doesn't seem to do much. That's off of the coast of Indonesia and Malaysia. But this one in the middle, you can see, really does take on some characteristics where it's likely a hurricane. And this is this weekend that we're talking about it strengthening, but also approaching and moving towards the coastlines of Madagascar. So with that said, that's a big tropical heads up for anybody who has supply chain on ships in this part of the world, maritime folks who watch our videos and check in on just what's happening around the world. Let's keep in mind there might be some navigation changes or alterations just to keep the ships and crew and the goods they're hauling nice and safe. With that, let's jump to Europe, because we have done several videos on these rounds and rounds of systems moving through. But the one that we had discussed about being a cutoff low in the Med, I think this has a chance for some severe weather potential in southern France and more predominantly Italy and the surrounding islands there just to the west of Italy. As we roll this through, you can see there's that energy coming up from Africa that we talked about merging with this system. So I want to just get in a little more granular and zoom in. Again, time frame we're talking about, thunderstorms, mostly a very isolated chance of severe weather. However, very commonly when we get severe weather in Italy, it is this region up here in the northwest, off in the northeastern portions of the Mediterranean. So that would be on Friday for you. And then as we head into the weekend, that system coming up from Africa, now the attention will turn to South Italy, especially around Naples and the coastlines there. That we have such beautiful areas there, St. Terre and just all the areas, just amazing. So with that said, I want to show you that this is going to be likely a pretty significant threat into the midday and evening of Sunday. And a lot of people, of course, are checked out on a Sunday because it's the weekend. It makes sense, usually Sunday fun day, right? Operations wise and businesses, staffing, all of that, if that's your area of responsibility, or tracking shipping goods, mark Sunday as a day to really pay attention if this is your part of the world that you are responsible for, either staff or a fleet of trucks or a fleet of ships. And then that will slide off into the areas of the Adriatic and then approach Albania and Greece, mostly south of Croatia. But I do think that this comes in a couple waves into Greece as we go through Sunday and Monday. So I want to draw your attention to that. And then back in the U.S. finally, as we talked about with this developing system, yesterday we discussed it being a Miller B type storm in every way, except it just doesn't hug the coast like a true nor'easter would. So it won't be a full Miller B classification in that respect, but where the storm forms has all the makings of that, which is overland west of the Ohio Valley. This is a little southwest, but that area of Houston, Galveston, into areas of Shreveport, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, just west of New Orleans, will be under a slight risk for severe weather tomorrow. So let's, again, zoom in and just show you what this looks like in the days ahead. So that first real flex of potentially some strong to severe storms will be just west of that slight risk, but would include the Dallas-Fort Worth metro as well as Little Rock. And this would be in the pre-dawn hours tomorrow, Thursday. Flooding threat is there, maybe even some small hail. We have extremely cold air aloft, obviously being in winter. And then as this marches across and forms a pretty strong squall line, you can see these areas, East Texas and Louisiana, would be impacted as we get into late Thursday and then early Friday, as mentioned. This goes to the East Coast, but looking like it won't hang up. It just will continue straight offshore and will not be a nor'easter. So if you have areas of responsibility, power companies, as well as those of you who have assets like a fleet of trucks, anything in the way of offices or staffing, I want you to be ready for this as a possibility. And I just want to show you the jet stream associated with this. Pretty unusually strong. In fact, I'm going to back up. This is our trough in the jet stream. Most of the winter, they're way up here with the polar jet stream. So a little unusual to see this. And the strength of it increases right here over Oklahoma and Arkansas, where overhead you'll have around 180 mile per hour jet stream. As a result, that rapid acceleration in the east of the trough of the jet stream means that kind of energy will help propagate a thunderstorm outbreak. So that's why you can see these will be your line of thunderstorms a little bit lower, but that is going to flex and give it a pretty strong push. So I would say there's a chance they may expand the risk area for tomorrow, but I would definitely, if you are Dallas, Fort Worth, Little Rock, and areas to the east, like we talked about, Louisiana, and even portions of western Mississippi, be ready for this to produce potentially severe weather. And then this is late tomorrow night, early Friday morning, and then through the day Friday, this will slide off to the East Coast. So it is a short-lived event, but I want to make sure that you are ready for it and not surprised or caught off guard. So jumped around a lot around the world today, but we still have more videos to do tomorrow and Friday. And in the meantime, hope you have a great rest of your day, friends.